Before we start our next show, just wanted to say thank you for joining the Ishan Skiing community. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for growing. If you like any episode that we ever put out, like, follow, share. That's the only way we're gonna grow. So thanks again. And now, on to the show. Welcome back to another episode of Talking at Ishan Skiing Podcast. We are back in our safe space we call
Treetop Studios.
Yes, indeed. We're back, guys. So, as you know, things is going on in the world and stuff, and we're still struggling. I know I've been struggling when it comes to videos and images of the atrocity that's going on at the Gaza Strip, and it's just been something that's been weighing a lot on my mind with the images and the videos that I've been seeing day in, day out. And I try to stay away from it as much as I possibly can, but sometimes it's unavoidable, and it's just been, when I tell you, truly horrific. It's been absolutely something that I just can't stomach. You know what I mean? So we're just going to stay on this topic, just it's good to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
To, release some of that anxiety and what you're feeling inside. So how have you been feeling? What you've been up to? Please share.
It's funny you said to release some anxiety, but going into this episode, and I'm usually not feeling this way, but going into the start of this episode, I feel like my anxiety just heightened because I know what we're going to discuss. And I feel like, just it's already on our minds. So thinking about it even more, I feel like the emotions just suddenly become heightened. Just all the anger flowing and whatnot. It's been difficult. It's been difficult for a lot of us. Me, other people are literally eliminating others from our lives based off of the simple fact that people have trouble speaking up because maybe it doesn't affect them directly, or they don't realize how it may affect them in the future. So they choose not to speak about it because they are privileged enough to see it online and turn a blind eye and continue their day. So I guess even to say that it's been tough is an understatement. But it has been, and so many more emotions that I can, go on and on for days. But I guess, trying to get through this, keep on educating people through social media. It's the least that we can do. We have the access to it, so why not continue to spread the knowledge and have these conversations with people to shed light on what is happening. Aside from that, I mean, for the past couple weeks, I've been organizing some drives, from local to North Jersey, just to even spread awareness on the road. I figure, hey, we have all these protests and we're posting on social media. Why don't we get together, fly our flag? At least people will begin to recognize, hey, what's that flag? And then they'll start to see it. When they see it online, they realize, oh, what are we doing this for? So I can say in the moment that's been a little bit helpful, but it's also difficult because once we release that and, share that with the world, at least in our paths on the road, we come back home and it's like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough, or I feel shitty, like I just want to be there helping them. And we can't do that. And it's very troubling mentally. So that's definitely taking a toll on me and all of our community.
Right. I mean, but in reality, you are doing a lot, though. You are doing a lot. I know it might seem so minimal and so minuscule, but to be honest, you are doing a lot. You think about that, man. The time it takes and the effort to make a drive and people show up, that's a lot. I think is absolutely awesome. Yeah, you want to. I mean, everybody wants to do something that it's so powerful that it changes the world, right? But it's the little things, the little building blocks, right? There's just not one block that builds a building, a whole bunch of bricks, right? And you're part of that. You're part of that process, part of that building awareness, building. I mean, yeah. I mean, in the last two episodes, we've talked about it, the effect that first episode did, and it continues to do.
Yeah.
It's just been absolutely amazing. So, man, you are doing a lot. believe that you are doing a lot. There's,
Mhm.
I mean, like when you asked me, before we even recorded, right off air, like, hey, what's going on? And when I'm up at a get together and people are asking, like, yo, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? I see a lot of this and a lot of that. Obviously, we talk about it for a couple of minutes. It's not going to be something that we talk like at a get together or party, that type of thing. But
Yeah.
the effect and the positive effect that that we've had and you've had on the show, it's been absolutely amazing. So
Mhm.
I just want you to feel like, yeah, you're doing, man. You're doing, and you're moving and you're shaking, and it's
Yeah.
having a super effect on a lot of people.
It's crazy because it's like, okay, maybe, I understand, like, yeah, we're doing as much as we can here, but just continuously seeing these images online is it's difficult, and we're lucky enough to be here and be able to sleep at night, um, and do as we please. And yeah, like, I guess we're doing whatever it is that we can, but also knowing that it's day 24 and most citizens around the world are in uproar at these protests. I mean, we're really doing like record breaking numbers as far as these protests go. And to know that the governments are not reacting like they should, or, you know, they're calling ceasefire and Israelis are not abiding by whatever it is that they're putting forth and voting on, it's troubling. It's troubling that they can get away with this over and over again. Aside from, the last 24 days, in the last 75 years, how many war crimes have they committed? And they're not condemned for everything or anything at all, not one thing. So to see that is very troubling. And it's like, man, yeah, we're posting on social media. Yeah, we're having these conversations, but what are they going to do to stop them? And they're not doing anything. I think, as far as like educating individuals, I'm so proud of a lot of people because a lot of people, again, like I said last time, whom I haven't spoken to in years. Or, we may follow each other on social media, but that's about as far as the interaction goes. And I've been having conversations with these people because they're coming forward and they're asking me questions. So I'm like so proud, so happy that these individuals are willing to come forward and want to be educated and want to understand what's going on instead of saying, oh, this doesn't affect me. I'm just going to let it go and they'll figure it out. Or, oh, I don't want to lose followers, so I'm not going to get involved in this or post anything, or I'm just going to post something neutral, or I'm not going to post anything Palestine specific. No, you're doing the bare minimum. And that's, to tie into something I posted, I don't know if it was yesterday, today, or maybe both for all I know, because I'm so angered. Respectfully, we do not want people's sympathy. As much as I do appreciate, people reaching out and saying, "Hey, I'm thinking of you," I truly do appreciate that. That's not what we need. At the end of the day, one post may go so far. You don't know whose eyes are going to come across it and who it's going to affect. And that's what's so important to us. Like, yes, we appreciate you reaching out and sympathizing with us, but that's not what we need, respectfully, with all due respect, like not even trying to be an asshole or anything like that. But whether you have a small following, a medium following, or a large following, it doesn't matter if even just one person follows you. If you're posting one post, not just in solidarity with the Palestinians, but for basic human rights, for understanding, to educate, it's gonna raise question amongst other people. And that's what we need. We want people to be curious. We want people to want to learn. So that's why that's so important to us instead of you sympathizing with us. Like, it's lovely and all, we really do appreciate it again, but we need the support on the front lines as far as like social media goes, or standing with us at these rallies, at these protests. Like, that's going to be eye opening to the government to know that, oh my God, all these people are not with us. And although we are at those like record numbers and they do realize that they've lost this war as far as social media goes, it's important to keep on. It's important not to stay quiet. It's important to keep talking about it. And that's something that people don't realize. It's already been 3 weeks. And yeah, maybe people are tired of seeing these posts and they don't want to wake up and see a child's head blown off into pieces to start their day off. But it's like, we have to prove ourselves. It's like, this is what's going on and you have to see it whether you like it or not. And if you don't want to, delete me, kind of thing. because that's the only way we're gonna show people what's happening to us, the atrocities, and what it needs to be stopped, basically. That's why we need to put this stuff on display because you don't understand the extent because you're so privileged to have a roof over your home and wake up to your kids every day or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you said that like one post can reach so many people, it is just crazy because I just go back to that episode, and it's just the countries that I'm like, man, it's 30 countries already and growing, you know,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
more countries. I don't know if they're listening to the full episode or something. That we really actually we could tell.
We could, yeah.
Yeah, we dig in real quick, but I just look at it kind of quickly and go from there. But
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. Just one repost, one whatever. You never
Mhm.
know what that effect has, and whose eyes is gonna come across it and stuff like that. So, like for example, like yesterday, really I wasn't on. I'm really on social media until later on in the afternoon, maybe when I got home or whatever the case was. I was just off it because I was doing my thing and just being busy.
Yeah.
But then once again, I sat down and I started going through it and I guess seeing the pictures and the images. And I know I reached out to you and stuff, but for real, I was just tearing my ass off because it was just like, damn, you know what I mean? I lost for words, lost for thought, lost for everything, and just being involved and just being human and watching.
Mhm.
There was one that I was just like, I just saw it for, I think it was like not even 3 seconds. I'm gonna say,
Mhm.
I had to put my phone down and it just I did not need any other longer than that little segment that I just saw like for I think it was like 3 seconds. I'm not even gonna lie,
Yeah.
3 seconds, but it was a dude was holding his baby in the air and it was lifeless. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying?
No, it's sad, man.
Absolutely sad and crazy, and the pain that people in the screaming. Obviously, I don't understand a word that they're saying, but you don't have to understand the words to feel,
No.
right? Definitely don't. So yeah, man, it's just been, and then obviously just the connection between me and you is just like I watch and if I'm feeling this pain, right, as just as a human being, you know what I'm saying? And then it's just like I think in my head, damn, that might be times 10 when it comes to you and your family and the people that you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely affecting us in ways I can't explain, and it's wild, like, this has been going on for 3 weeks. We're on day 24 now. It's nighttime over there, so, the bombing is just nonstop, especially at night, with the blackout. I know some connections have been coming back slowly but surely, but still, I can't imagine, like, going to sleep with your kids, not knowing if you're going to be alive, if you're gonna be missing all of your limbs. Like, you don't know what the hell is gonna happen. Imagine living like that, and that's what kills me about people here that don't understand, you know? We're literally fighting. And another thing I saw too, it's always been free Palestine, but at this point it's save Palestine, save Gaza, because that's their intent is to ethnically cleanse us, and that's always been their intent. I know I've said it before also that we accepted them into our land 75 years ago and they turned the tables on us and now they're killing us, but that's always been in their plans. And 3 weeks ago, I think it was 47 families where their bloodlines were completely gone because of these bombings. Now, as far as I think yesterday, it was at 825 family bloodlines completely obliterated off the face of this earth that will no longer exist. 825 is insane. And I don't think that people understand the magnitude of that. It's scary. It's scary for us as Palestinians just knowing that we're being bombed and we're being wiped out, and these governments are not intervening like they should have a long time ago. Not even in the past 3 weeks, but in the past 75 years. No one has intervened and stopped this ongoing massacre. I think that speaks for itself, too, aside from governments not intervening, but this has been going on for 75 years and they still haven't wiped us off like they've planned to. That speaks volumes, at least for me. My people are so strong and so resilient, and they're doing this through bombings because they know that they're incapable of doing these ground invasions successfully. Bombing is just easier for them. And another thing is, not to derail but or be all over the place, but there's a lot of focus on Gaza because, that's the most affected area. Like, they're really going through it out there. It doesn't compare to what's going on in the West Bank, but there are atrocities happening in the West Bank. They've locked up thousands of kids, just going into their homes, taking them off the street, locking them up. Why? Because they can. They handed out rifles to their citizens, and these citizens are running around just killing people as they please because they can. And absolutely nobody stops them. Right before we got on this, too, I posted a video of 3 women that are in Hamas captivity right now. And it's funny. I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny because Hamas is literally taking care of these hostages. Not only are they taking care of the hostages that they have, but they proposed a deal with Netanyahu to let all of the hostages go, and he declined it. So the video I posted was one of the hostages, one of the Israeli hostages, yelling and screaming at their leader because he's the one that's causing all this mess. So for me, it's kind of hilarious that not only are we against him and his agenda, their agenda, as a collective with the US, Biden, Blinken, Netanyahu, all of these people, but their citizens are starting to turn on them because everything is coming to light. And it's sad that it's taken 75 years for people to wake up and see what's actually happening. But it is happening, and they're definitely losing the social media war. Um, I've said it for years to my friends too, and people that I know, how the Israeli government pays their students to actually go online and troll Palestinians or pro Palestinian people. And I've seen a few articles surface, or a few people actually come out and make videos and say, look at this email that I got um, from the Israeli government proposing to pay me to go against Palestine, and so on and so forth. So it's really amazing to see the narrative changing in our favor, at least from a citizen perspective. The USA and their endless support, or whatever you want to call it, to Israel. Maybe that's not changing, but I know that they're getting some pushback from the younger politicians. So that's also a good thing, at least, with them caring and seeing what's happening on the news and all this bloodshed and whatnot. So it's good to know that they have some feelings, but it's still a battle that we have to continue to fight. And we can't do it alone. We need more and more people to continue to get on board with us because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, one post can cross eyes of someone very important, or one post can cross eyes of someone who's quote unquote confused or doesn't know what's happening, and it'll educate them, and then that person will pass it on. So it's really, really critical that we band together and we start posting. We don't need your sympathy, we want your support, because that's what's going to help, shape things in the form of change. And not just for us, but in anything that happens globally. I've been seeing a lot of news about Congo and the Congolese people, and they're facing their own genocide. And Sudanese are also facing genocide in different ways than us, but it's still happening right under our noses, right in front of our eyes. And we choose to turn a blind eye, which is not okay. Like, that's how we allow things to go. That's how governments have control over us. They know that whatever they put forth or whatever they're displaying in the media, people are going to just take it and run with it because they know their citizens are gullible and lazy. And that's why they get away and do what they do. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah, like you're absolutely right on everything you said, right? But like today, I just wanted to keep like an open forum and just touch on a lot of topics and or a lot or whatever I've been seeing as
Hmm.
well. I know you had mentioned, people infiltrating and stuff like that. There was a video I came across. It was a few people, but in this case, I believe it was a young lady. I might be wrong if it was a guy or a girl, but anyway, it doesn't matter. She was joining the Israeli military.
The
This,
idea.
Yeah, a couple of years back. This is not recently. This is a couple of years back or whatever.
Mhm.
And obviously, you know, she was proud and the whole 9 yards of being from Israel and all that good stuff, right? And all of a sudden, when she went through all the training and all that, and she started realizing what the hell was actually going on and what they were being fed,
Mhm.
realized like this is this is crazy, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So she turned, you know what I'm saying, and was just like, yo, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that effect that you see some, and then she was young, right? So usually when it's young people that cause a revolution, right? It's never the
Yep.
old. The old people love the way the old shit works. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's just the youth. It's just the people that are tired of reading history and having history repeat itself and stuff like that. Those are the people that have the powerful changes,
Mhm.
right? Um, I still remember President Obama when he was running for president. He used the internet. He used social media in order to win major areas and major key demographics where normally it goes, you know, it turns red instead of blue, blah blah blah. But that was his strategy: is hit, you know, get the young voters at that time, right? And
Mhm.
definitely me because I was young back in the day, you know. No, that was a great strategy. So the whole thing about you saying the youth and the young people realizing what's going on, they have the power. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That was one video that I saw. The other video that I saw that was kind of, you know, back to your point of, man, you don't know what's going to happen, was the two young kids sitting in the bed, and once again, I don't understand what they were saying, right? But all of a sudden they're talking, and the little girl covers her ears, the little boy covers his ears, and they kind of put their head down,
Yep.
and hear the bomb go off in the background.
Mhm.
And sitting in their bedroom, I guess dad must have been talking to them or something like that. And that's a
Yeah.
a crazy, crazy experience to even think. You know, I mean, sometimes we sit here, you know, around July 4th and stuff, and then they explode, you know, big M80s, and you're like, oh snap, you know.
Mhm.
So I can't even fathom just thinking an actual bomb that
Yeah.
probably maybe less than a mile away.
Mhm.
You know, this sister and brother and their dad are sitting in their bedroom, just, you know, just close your eyes because you never know, it might be us. You know, that is
And
absolutely horrific.
I I know you don't understand what they were saying in the video, but in that one specifically, once they covered the ears and the bomb went off, the dad actually told them, count up to 60 and cover your ears again. So it's sad. Like they know, that it's going to be 1 minute intervals before the next one hits. You don't know if it's going to hit your house and that's the last time you see or speak to each other. You don't know if you're going to be stuck under rubble and nobody's going to find you. You don't know if it's going to hit your neighbor's house, another family member, how far it is, what's going to happen next. And it's literally like a countdown. It's like they're facing death in the face. Or, well, yeah, I guess, you know what I mean? They're facing death and it's like they're just accepting their fate. And it's sad to think that way, but a lot of these people, that's why their faith is so strong. You hear people saying Allahu Akbar all the time, which mean God is great or, he's the greatest, he's above all. And I've seen so many people comment on that, like, wow, they're going through all of this. And at the end of the day, their faith is so strong. They're walking around like they can handle anything. And it's so like inspiring. It's wild. It's really wild to see like those kids in that video you were describing, yeah, they're covering their ears from the bombs, but they're still together and they're still smiling, regardless of what's going to happen next.
Right. And that was crazy. And I still remember what you said in another episode where the guy was getting a haircut and the little girl was putting makeup and stuff like that because that's all they found, or that's all they had, just to try to escape that stuff. Other
Hmm.
just, you know, like I said, it's just watching these piles of rubble and people searching for survivors, and you're like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be on another level of demonic human being, to
Yeah.
just see. I mean, honestly, I don't think they're watching because they don't care, right?
Hmm.
But still, man, it's just to watch those images and stuff is just so. they like I said, the only words that come is crazy, horrific, all this and that, and you can use whatever word you want. But man, when it's just sad, it's absolutely sad to have people just moaning and crying because they know, like, brother, sister, son, daughter, whatever might be under that rubble. That's just something that's absolutely, you know, once
Yeah.
again, you know.
It's been horrific videos, man. I don't even know how to explain, you know, what we're feeling day in and day out. Just seeing this stuff and not being able to do anything about it, at least in the physical form. You know, just knowing that they're suffering over there and we can't be there to help them. It's difficult. I think, you know, just going through this and watching other people post stuff, for me at least, that's been the most uplifting. Just knowing that people are starting to pay attention and starting to understand and how important that is. You know, I like to keep going back to that because it really is a critical piece to all of this worldwide. Um, I don't know if you saw, but aside from them bombing the mosques, they've actually bombed two Christian churches. And, you know, that's another big thing is that people worldwide have no idea that it's not just Muslims and Jews that live in Palestine. You know, there are Christian Palestinians there. We do have a population in Gaza, we have a population in the West Bank. And I feel like that kind of was a trigger for some people to start paying attention because Christians, and I think it's specifically evangelical Christians that support this idea of Israel. So I feel like that was a trigger for the Christian community to open their eyes and realize, wow, this is, you know, really a humane crisis, and they're just attacking everyone and anyone who identifies as Palestinian. It doesn't matter what religion you are because all they want is the land for Jews only. And even in that same breath, like, it's not all Jews that are for this. I know I said this as well. I think on the first episode that we started about this, the Free Palestine episode, that we have so many people from the Jewish community that stand with us. You know, there is a significant difference between Judaism and the idea of Israel. And I want to touch back on this because I feel like it's so important. You know, unfortunately, this gives a bad name to the Jewish community when it's not all of them. We have many, many people in the Jewish community who support us. The idea of Israel is completely different. You know, that's why we call these people Zionists, because they believe that they should have a land specifically for the Jewish community and nobody else is allowed there. And they continuously go back to the Torah and say that basically, if you're not Jewish, then you need to be killed. But that's not, you know, that's another argument that the Jewish community argues versus the idea of Israel, where they say that's not what the Torah says, you know. But it's a huge difference, and people need to realize that. And I'm sorry for rambling, but I feel like I also want to touch base on two other things. You know, a key thing is they keep using two specific excuses for, you know, what they're doing or how people feel or people speaking their mind. And that's one where they say, oh, you're being anti Semitic. But we cannot be anti Semitic because us Arabs are also Semites. So that doesn't even make sense. And they're just spewing that consistently on the news or amongst each other to people who are not pro Israel. And they're always like, oh, you're being anti Semitic when that's not even a viable excuse. You know, they literally just sound dumb when they spew that out of their mouth. The other one is um, when they say, oh, we're trying to get Hamas because they're in tunnels underneath this church or this mosque or this hospital or this house. But I saw a video that said if there was a school shooter in a school, when was it ever acceptable to bomb the entire school with everyone in it? And I thought that was a perfect example.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if, like, let's just say, even if they're in tunnels and shit like that,
Hmm.
a whole freaking building How? Aren't there in tunnels?
They're coming up with the dumbest excuses. Dumbest. And it's driving me nuts that there are still people out there who will take this information, run with it, and say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, how stupid could you be to not put the pieces together?
So some people, once again, I go back to my days back as a student when I was a young cat, you know what I mean? And it was time to do a book report. You ain't want to read the whole book. So you used to go to the library and ask the librarian for the cliff notes, and it just gave bullet points. So people just love they love living life through cliff notes. You know what I mean? Give me what that's what it is, or that's what it must be.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You just took little bullet points, and that was it. You run with it, and you'd be like, yeah, that's what it is. So you're absolutely right, because it's just been I love the videos when the people go back and forth, and
Yeah.
then the points are just majestic. You know what I mean? I just can't do anything but smile. You know what I mean? There was one, I can't remember exactly, but he was like, "You're there smiling," and then the guy the guy that I guess he was from Israel started. He was like, "I am not smiling," or whatever the case is,
Yeah.
because he didn't know what to say. Like my man just crushed his whole thing, and I was just like crazy. And the only thing that comes back to my head is, you know, it's just once again, it's just history repeating itself. Like shit, you just got World War II. Nazi Germany did this exact same thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, and now here it is. Years later, and decades later, you're doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. There was one lady that I came across the video, and she was like, my great grandmother, she was in a concentration camp and stuff like that. And I just can't believe that the people that were there, people that came from those people, like you said, bloodlines, right? That you came, that, right? Because if your grandparents, great grandparents, if they were in a concentration camp, those are the stories you heard about, the atrocities and this and that. So if you know that, for you to repeat that, that is like what they lived through. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's mind blowing to me that there can be such a divider, and usually that divider is, and it's not thing. Because I know you're gonna tell me it's not a religious thing, but they use things from religious pieces to
Yeah.
qualify what they're trying to do. So, like another part of history, the Great Inquisition, right? The Spanish used it. If you're not Christian, you gotta go. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It was right. Anybody that was doing something that wasn't, oh, were you still there? All right, let me talk to you. You know what I mean? And they would torture you or whatever the case was back in them days and stuff like that. And now it's the same shit. It's the same shit, and it's just like, damn, man, my guy, open a history book and get some knowledge. But people don't care. People they
No.
just want to destroy the world and say, it was God sent, and everything is God sent. You know what I mean? Like, ugh,
Yeah.
so
I'm sorry, but God ain't giving no land to no demonic people like that. So y'all could take that book and go somewhere with it. And it's crazy. I know you said like the whole religion thing. I guess to better understand it for people listening, it's not a religious thing for the Palestinian people. But for the Zionist community, yes, it very much so is about religion because they want to expel everyone and anyone that isn't one of them. And
right,
they believe that they deserve the land because God gave it to them.
and
And
that was exactly my point. You know what I mean? The people that want to destroy or whatever the case, they'll use some about a certain piece. Once again, grabbing a cliff note and just
yeah,
running with it. But that's
you
exactly
know, it's crazy. I saw some post and I don't know how true it is. I still want to go back and research to figure this out. But I saw a post that actually said it's illegal over there for them to take any DNA tests. And I mean, if it's true, it's probably because they don't want it to come back and it shows that they're actually not from there. And it's going to show that they're from different areas of Europe. But I'm like, you know what? It's a perfect resolution. Tell these motherfuckers to take a DNA test, and whatever comes back on your result is where you need to be expelled to. And that's where you go live. Because you sure as hell ain't from here.
What's that DNA shit? Whatever. What's the
Ancestry.
right?
Yeah. The true Jews are gonna stay, but the other motherfuckers gotta go.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the go. Oh,
Because there's different, yeah. I mean, before all this, we were living with Jews and we were living with Christians in peace. But then these fuckers came.
you know what's
Excuse
funny?
my language.
I think you posted you had posted pictures of Palestine before, and it was
Hmm.
the 1920s or something like that.
Yeah.
It was these beautiful little towns, and everything looked so nice, and the streets, cobblestones, everything looked nice. People taking pictures, well dressed, looking cool as fuck. And this
Hmm.
was 1920s, 1930s, early 1940s, and then all of a sudden,
Boom.
boom. Yeah,
Mhm.
crazy. I was just blown away by those pictures, and I was just like, "That's what's up, man." And all of a sudden, here a couple of boats, fucks everything, fucks up. You know what I'm saying? And comes with these,
No, literally.
yeah. And it's just crazy because those boats had those people that I'm not gonna say the majority because I don't have the facts in front of me, but I'm gonna say some of them came from those concentration camps.
That's exactly where they came from. It was post World War II. They
Right.
came from concentration camps. That's why we say, like, damn, you didn't learn from your ancestry's history. It's so sad. And they have ancestors who are like totally against this. I've seen a bunch of old people from those days, come out on videos and say, like, what the hell is this? This is not what we stand for. But then you have others who are literally psychotic and they're like, clean them out, kill them all. They're nuts. These people are literally out of their minds. Why they're like that, I don't know. It's really odd to me knowing that their ancestors had gone through these same atrocities and here they are committing them themselves.
Talking That Ish and Skeen podcast is now available on iHeartRadio and Apple Podcast. Say word, Skeen. Word to Big Bird. So now our show, me and Ish, you know how we doing it. Talking That Ish and Skeen podcast is now available on Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. No excuse. You can't miss us. We there, we everywhere. Say word, Skeen. Word to Big Bird. So we'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Peace. What's up, guys? It's your boy Skane here, back to let you know and remind you that my co-host Aisha has an amazing poetry book called Treetop Echoes. It is available now on Amazon as well as Barnes & Nobles. So if you're in the market for a new book, please pick it up. You will not be disappointed in this amazing poetry book. So the name of the book, once again, Treetop Echoes, available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. Get your copy today. All right, so we're back. One thing that I wanted to talk about was obviously you can see it changed the background.
Yeah, I see that.
But one thing I wanted to talk about was the shit that really got me pissed off. Once again, this video, it just pops up in my feed because I just, but it's and in the last episode I talked about it and I shared a clip with the audience about Congressman Max Miller.
Hmm.
And yo, I'm telling you, man, every time I see that fucking video, my blood just absolutely boils to the point that I, like in my brain, I'm killing this man for real.
Yeah.
That's the type of anger, the way he's just nonchalant and oh yeah, it's just
That's
so.
how I get it. I feel that way about all of them when they sit here on TV or whatever and have the audacity to say some of the shit that they say. And, for us knowing that if we or anyone else, if not being them, says half the shit that they say, they would be torn a new asshole, basically. And the whole world will be up in arms like, oh, how dare they say that? These people get away with anything. They're literally getting away with murder.
Yeah, it's just, and that was part of my part of the last episode where it's just like, I just referred it to it, your place of work, like where you work at, right? And
Mhm.
just to bring that point up to light. If nobody's heard the last episode, it was just like some of the things that they get away with, and you happen to say those things at your place of work, like
Mhm.
just you be asked out of a job.
Yeah.
But
And
these,
that's happening to a lot of people now. I literally just watched the video right now, and it was well, this guy, he was on live and he was basically saying, be careful what you say in public statements. He's a lawyer, and he was like, even though this is what you're thinking and this is how you're feeling, sometimes you got to tiptoe around it, especially if you're like young, and you're just starting out in your career, if you're in school, because they're really revoking scholarships from people. They're firing people left and right for speaking their minds. And it's nuts. It's so crazy that you can reprimand someone and take someone's future away for them speaking on something that is actually making sense, you know? Just because you don't stand with them or your beliefs are different. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing? What are we really doing in today's world?
that's it. Let's imagine you're doing a book report about history or whatever, and
Mhm.
you don't use no facts because you know what I'm saying. Hey, imagine that doing a book report with no facts and stuff. You
Mhm.
be like, yeah, I like the cover of the book. Book was nice. I happened to walk by it and I just saw the book. But you're not using any facts because you can't. You know what I mean? Because, like you're saying, if they're revoking this and revoking that for you actually paying mind to factual events and making your own judgment and your own research to come across or come about an answer that you think is right, that you think is just, right? And
Mhm.
you reprimanded because you're doing everything that you have to do as a smart human being for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And you still get, just say, nah, we're good. You're not gonna work here. You're not gonna get this scholarship, or you're not gonna get
Mhm.
that. That's mind blowing to me.
I mean, let's be real. At the end of the day, why are they reprimanding people and taking things away from people is because it's control. When you have a controlled society, you have a controlled narrative. And if they can control that narrative, then they can get away with whatever it is that they want to commit. And that's really the basis of that. So they're going to do what they want to do as they are doing now. But the one thing that we have over them is that people are opening their eyes. And that's why people are speaking up so loudly. The more and more people that you get to speak up and you get to stand their ground, the more effective you're going to be at the end of the day on the side of the oppressed.
Right?
And that's really the fight here.
Yeah, it definitely is, and the fight will always continue, right? And hopefully, something comes about soon, man, because it's just it. Obviously, every time you have a struggle like this, it always seems to get worse before it gets better.
Oh, it's going to get worse. I
And
was watching some stuff, and now you got the Israelis bombing South Lebanon. And some people are saying, oh, they're doing this, back and forth with Hezbollah because they're trying to entice Iran into a war. And I don't know. I really believe that World War III is going to begin. And for those that are not paying attention are going to be surprised when they actually are affected, unfortunately.
and that's the scary part, right? Because I mean,
Hmm.
what was it earlier last week? I believe it was. Maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe something like that.
Hmm.
China deployed what, 6 battleships? Um,
I saw that. I was talking about that, and I don't know if that necessarily has anything to do with this, but I also watched another video one of my cousins sent me, and ultimately it's like they're trying to create this like new Silk Road, um, I guess like a trade route, and that there's like behind the scenes involvement of multiple countries, China being one of them. So I feel like throughout this, and I'm not saying China is, I don't know, there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, but I feel like throughout this battle and this genocide, there are going to be a lot of moving parts from different governments, and there are going to be a lot of different reasons behind them. So, although maybe one government is showing solidarity with the Palestinian people, it may not be for just reasons. It may be just, you know, them doing what they need to do for the benefit of their country in this initiative in its entirety.
Right, and there's always been like that, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I just go back once again to history, and I just look at all these, fake type of collaborations, I guess, for
Hmm.
lack of a better word. France is going to back England. Okay, why? Because they see that Spain is controlling, and they were like the great Christian empire and all that, and France wanted to be sort of, for lack of a better term, in bed with the Pope and all that stuff and blah blah blah. So there's always these collaborations and stuff like that that goes on, or it can be an excuse to get into something and make it bigger and say, hey, this is what it needs to be, right?
Yeah.
Just like I said, I've always said, and history kind of shows it. When the U.S. was looking for an excuse to get into World War II, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? And that's what it was. They needed an excuse. Pearl Harbor was the excuse, and then next thing you know, they're in the war and making a lot of money, and that's when the baby boom generation took off right after the war. You know what I'm saying? So it was all money driven, and it could be something like that, which is scary
Hmm.
because that's the other thing I was thinking. All right, in the back of my head, I was like, all right, U.S. supports Israel, blah blah blah. It might come to a fact that who knows, right? Because this is all chess, right?
Yeah.
And all this and that, and I'm saying to myself, well, Russia is the other big superpower, right? Or one of the superpowers in the world. China is as well, and they can say, you know what? They got a union,
Hmm.
so they'd be like, yo, let's back up. Let's just say Palestine, and now here we go. And this is when all the rest of the bullshit starts as well, which it affects the people that are ignoring the events that is going on right now. And
Hmm.
back to your point, this could be an excuse for another world war. You know,
Hmm.
when it comes to this, because they always look for something to be like, all right, this is our opportunity we were waiting for. And then, you know what I mean? The Palestinian people get caught in between because, hey, this is the thing. And then the next thing you know, it's a whole big thing. So now you're absolutely right. Those are thoughts that I've always had in my head is like, all right, who are they going to use, unfortunately, because that's what it
Hmm.
is, in order to, you know, pursue whatever they're pursuing, whatever their agenda is. But yeah, that was just something that I saw. And like I said, I don't know if it was true, but it was just, like I said, 6 warships and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly where, in what direction they were going in, but that was the report. And then,
I did see that. I actually posted it myself. And, just obviously as you go along, you dig a little deeper and you find out new information and you're like, oh my God, your eyes just keep opening bigger and bigger and bigger, until you see the full picture. It's wild. You it's endless. It's an endless hole. You keep digging for information, you keep finding out more information, you learn new things, and you're like, wow, what the fuck is really happening in this world that I'm not aware of?
yeah, but
Crazy, man.
the shit that you're aware about is just assholes like Max Miller.
God, they piss me off so bad. So bad.
Man, it's just like I haven't seen a video like that in a long time to really get my blood like just you know what I mean? Where I'm like, yo, this son of a bitch right here, like for real, that oh,
Yeah,
no
it's
words can describe.
not it's definitely wild. I think that definitely ignites the anger too, like, at the beginning of all this and throughout over the years, it's always like sadness, like, fuck, like I wish we can do something. But I think seeing videos like that and just watching all this stuff happen really ignites anger within you. And it's not that the sadness goes away, but you're just so furious with the way they're able to say what they say and do what they do without any repercussions is mind-boggling.
So let me ask you a question, right? And this is just to educate myself, right? Because obviously, every newspaper, every clip, every this, every that is the Gaza Strip, right?
Mhm.
Is there something there that makes this the focal point? I know you said it. It's the biggest outdoor prison.
Yeah,
Um, but
that is really the basis of it and the focal point of it
yeah, but
is
why?
that.
Why is it? I'm sorry. Why is it that Israel concentrates so much on this strip of land? I'm guessing that just to educate myself. Why?
So, okay, the entire land, for me, I call it Palestine. We call it Palestine. Other people call it Israel. And for these Israelis, when, they did the massacre and all of that, but they basically pushed us into two separate sections. So they pushed us into the West Bank, and then they pushed us down here on the border of Egypt into the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip for the past 16 years has been blocked off, I think, since Netanyahu's leadership, since he became their leader. It's been blocked off. So for those 16 years, it's been blocked off. But within that is all Palestinians, and it's 2.3 million Palestinians who live in that area. So for them, it's easier to wipe that out one shot without, I guess, having effects on their people. It's all, just our population. So pushing us completely out of the entire land into these two pieces, they're controlling these two pieces. Here in the West Bank, yes, there are, it's closer to like there are people and stuff like that. They have the wall that separates us from them, kind of like how they wanted to do the wall between the U.S. and Mexico. Well, they have that over there, and that's what separates us from them. Um, but the Gaza Strip, that's why they keep saying, oh, go to the south, go to the south, because they want to ultimately push those people out of Gaza and out of our land completely so that they can clear it out for themselves. But all in that same statement, they're telling them to go to the south and go into Egypt. They can't go into Egypt because it's blocked off. They bombed the border multiple times. So there's a lot of focus in Gaza because I guess ultimately that's where a huge part of our population is altogether cramped in,
Right.
if that makes sense.
No, it does. It absolutely does. But another thought that I had in my head, and just making everything so just simple for me to understand, right?
Hmm.
And when people ask me, I'm just like, yo, imagine, you own a house,
Hmm.
right? And I come to your house and you're gracious enough to have me in your house. And I come and I chill at your house. I eat your food. I chill. You know what I'm saying? And then as the years go by, I make it my own house.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I go behind your back. I sign over the deed or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? And now basically it's my house. And then
You ain't even signing shit.
right.
You're
Oh,
coming over, and then one day you're like, all right, Ish, get the fuck out. This is my house, and all your stuff belongs to me. Ain't signing no papers because it's okay. That's what they do out there.
that's great. I remember. I think there was a video you posted, or I don't know if I came across. Probably you did. And it was,
Hmm.
hey, can I play with your toys? And he was like, yeah,
Yes.
my toys. And that's the shit that I was just like, yo, just simple stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
I've done it as a little kid, right? With my cousin, like let's say he had a toy that I was like, damn, I ain't get that.
Hmm.
And then now I'm like, hey, can I borrow that toy? And he'd be like, all of a sudden he's like asking me months later, yo, can I get my toy back? I'm like, nah, you good.
It's crazy. It's crazy too because it's like people will fight, you know, what actually happened with where they'll be like, "Oh, but the Jews were there." Yeah, they were there, and we were there too. But these Jews are different. These are European Jews. They are not from there. There's a huge difference, you know? These are Jews that were displaced from the Holocaust. And you're really going to come into somebody else's home and take it and do to them what was done to you is crazy to me. That shit just doesn't make sense. It doesn't sit right with my soul at all.
Not only that, but other countries see this, right? Like if you take NATO or whatever, right? And then maybe you be righteous and good and all that crap, right? And the United Nations and all that crap. And throughout the years, you see it, right? You said what, 75 years, right?
Hmm.
See it slowly but slowly, but nobody can come in and intervene and be like, yo, hold up, dog. Like you just came, it's not your land.
Hmm.
They're inviting you to your land so you can, be amongst them and live in peace. But here you coming now, you trying to take over.
Yeah.
I should have been stopped 75 years ago. Like, yo,
Hmm.
like, what the fuck is you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say at the end of the day, oh, it's all the fact that, these governments, some of these governments are standing down and not getting involved because it's all coming down to greed, money, politics. These people have no sense of morality. They don't care about anyone but themselves, where they stand in leadership, and how it reflects on them. They don't give a fuck about their citizens. Why would they give a fuck about us? You know, Biden don't give a damn about what we have to say. You see all these protests going on, not just in the U.S. but globally, and his dumbass is doing interviews and making statements. He can't even see the screen talking about the United States stands with Israel. Sir, have you seen the protest? Maybe not, because they're not airing it on US television. But he should know that we do not stand with his ass. He sees it. He obviously he don't watch no damn TV. He knows what the hell is going on. We
Of
don't
course,
stand with him or any other one that's all for this. It's crazy.
of course. Yo, but here's one thing that I was proud of. The other day I was watching the English Premier League game, and so sometimes you got to listen to the narrative, right? Sometimes you got to listen to the words that they use. So in
Oh
this
yeah.
case, they were like, hey, we're gonna have a minute of silence for they said I believe they said the crisis in the Middle East. They didn't even say Israel or Palestine. They just said the crisis in the Middle East for all the lives lost. Let's spend 1 minute of
Hmm.
silence, which I thought it was. I was like, okay, they're using different words. I appreciate that or whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's major.
You came to my mind, and I was like, oh, I'm about to text you. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't because, and I should have, because the next thing, as the moment of silence starts, right? It was on the referee's whistle, so the referee blows the whistle,
Hmm.
and it's what 80, no, it's not 80,000, about 46,000, 60,000, or something like that, go silent.
Hmm.
And like 5 seconds into the being silent, you hear one voice, free, free Palestine,
Wow.
real loud. And I was just like, oh, that's what's up. And then obviously you hear shh, because it's a moment of silence. So
Yeah, yeah.
the fact that he, it was a he said, what he said, and there were a couple of yay cheers behind that, and then they all kind of calmed down because it is 1 minute of silence. I thought, damn, number one, the words that the announcer, when he announced it to the crowd, changed,
Hmm.
right? And then that just scream of free Palestine was cool and received nice, but at the same time, like, I hold it down. It's the moment of silence and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. So that was a proud
Yeah.
moment. Then the other one was Celtics FC. You posted it, I reposted it, and that was beautiful. That was absolutely
Yeah. Shout out to the Irish because they know what oppression is and they've always stood with us.
for sure, and that's the way it should be, right? If you know how it feels,
Hmm.
and then once again we go back, like, damn, you were oppressed, you were millions of European Jews were killed,
Right.
right? Tracing camps and all that stuff, and here you come to somebody else's land who they open the doors for you, and then you're gonna come in and just take over and do this to them. That to me is mind blowing and it's crazy. But
Yeah.
those hope that I kind of like and that I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Because
No, definitely.
so it's been awesome so far to see all these protests and hopefully the narrative changes, the words that they use. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
little by little. And like we said earlier in the first part of this podcast is like, yeah, sometimes it does get worse before it gets better, but hopefully it gets better as soon as possible. Because like you said, 3 weeks in and it's just getting more horrific and horrific, and it's just
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, hey, it's been difficult. It's getting worse and worse. These images are just like burned into our brains and it's all we could think about. But yeah, I mean, I guess things have to get worse before it gets good and I do have hope. I mean, we are a resilient group of people. We are strong, strong people. We've made it this far, and I could only see us making it further because of that,
yeah,
because of our spirit and our faith. Like, it's something incredible to see, and it makes me prouder and prouder literally every single minute, every second of the day to be Palestinian. Like, I couldn't be prouder than I am, honestly.
yeah. I'm very proud, very proud, very proud. You're proud. So the struggle continues. Like I said, we've hopefully we've helped change the narrative, through our work here at this podcast, and the people that we have reached, 30 countries, like I said, has been amazing. And we continue because I get happy when there's another country and I'm like, oh man, that's what's up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Hopefully we're doing our part. I hope we are. In my heart, I hope we are doing our part. And I know somewhere, as little as it might be, I think we are doing. So that is awesome. Hopefully, we continue to do so. Um,
Amen.
one person said it. One person asked me, "Hey, when are you guys going to talk about other topics and stuff like that?" And I was like, "Yo, right now, this is the topic at hand." You know what I mean? And it's just, to me, it's just going to be a disservice to just jump into some other stuff without knowing, what's going on. So if this podcast becomes a current event podcast, then so be it. On
Mhm.
on this screen, sharing the screen with me is, she feels good and strong and happy to continue doing other topics. But as for right now, this is the topic at hand, and I don't mind talking about it week in, week out. So
I
until,
appreciate you all.
yeah, of course, until that flag back there, it's gonna be flying proudly anyway. But
Mhm.
you know, when it comes to just having some type of peace, you know what I'm saying? Um, that would be awesome. So, last words for you, my friend.
I feel like I went on a total rant and I let some feelings out today, but my final words are really just, again, we don't need your sympathy. We need your support, respectfully. Post, have conversations. Please, keep everyone in your prayers globally. Like I said before, there are things happening around the world, and we really need to start paying attention because one day things are going to affect you and you're going to be shocked when you shouldn't be. You should be paying attention all the time. Um, this is basic human rights. It's not difficult to see what is at hand. It's not difficult to stand up for this unless your moral compass is spinning, not in the right direction. Then maybe you need to reevaluate yourself, reevaluate your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas. Stop being so self centered, stop being selfish, and consider other people because without everyone else in the world, shit might just stop on you? Um, all I gotta say, save Palestine, save Gaza, save the world.
I love that. And if you have that mentality like that dickhead Max Miller, then fuck you and everything
Yeah.
you. That's something I had to say and get it off my chest, man. For Miller out there, from this country to everywhere, any little corner of the world, man. Fuck you, your whole family,
Mhm.
and everything you believe in. For real. That, that's what I say. But until then, man, prayers to the Palestinian people and everybody around this world who struggles with oppression, man. My thoughts is with you. My prayers are with you, and I'm gonna continue to supporting that young lady over there as well. And checking in on you as much as I possibly can, my girl.
I appreciate you.
You guys are checking in with us every week. We'll get better, stronger, and grow from this, and become better human beings. So, guys, until next time, please, man. When I say, I know, when we log off, we usually throw a little. I usually throw a little piece on it, and I just don't do it for fun. I do it because hopefully one day it truly means exactly what it means. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, guys, take care. We'll talk to you next week. Uh, on behalf of my homegirl Ish, I'm skiing. Just peace, man. Take care. Peace.
Talking at Ish and Skeen.
Show you right.